Grand morning, everyone. It is Ishtar of Ra. I'm not quite sure what time it is, but it is still the AM on the 7th of August, 2026. How's everyone doing today? Yesterday, it was inspiring. And today is also inspiring too, aspiring to be even better than yesterday. Hallelujah. Ashe. Now, I know my ancestor, Henrietta Lacks' family was in the tobacco industry in West Virginia, where they still have some tobacco lands, right? So it is said when I Googled it. I'm not sure. But we know that cigarettes can be detrimental. Yes. And especially if you add other ingredients like what they say that the Browns and Williamson tobacco company was doing with their cigarettes to cause people to want it more, fiend for the cigarette, and which is a shame. But if we go on the biblical term of it, there are things that are allowed, like some corrupt people in our government, that some of these offices we don't even need. But I think we might need it because they put drugs on the street and people don't know how to act. They made people greedy and competitive when they don't need to be. They just need to contribute to society in what they know to be upright and helpful to the building of communities, right? But no, it's all this competition, and there's this fly that my foes keep trying to send to me. I know y'all see it, but anywho, it's a monitoring spirit, but we rebuke that and them too. Anyway, with this tobacco thing, I mean, if Henrietta Lacks' family owns some of that, and then her Gila sells, and then you got Sarah Rector, honey, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of thieving, stealing around here going on. And then I noticed that when there's a whistleblower that's Caucasian, at least some of them, because we know that some have been offed, if you know what I mean. But like, I would be a whistleblower for a very infamous, nefarious, organized criminal crime ring that devs in a whole bunch of things that involve intrusive stalking, and with this stalking, it is their belief, because it has happened before, it leads a person to either commit suicide or they literally take them out by means of poisoning, trying to get them hit on the street, whether they're driving their car or doing something to where they go out to eat, because they study you to see how can we affect this person and go ahead and red rum them so our secret can remain a secret. Now, I know some people may think it is far-fetched, the things that I say, but no, it's not. And the government knows this. That's why they're trying to stop me. They know good and time well that Epstein is very much alive, and he may have moved away since my videos, where I said, oh, I was in this place and Epstein was there, and anyway, and then they call themselves, I guess, rectifying something because of all the redacting. Isn't that something? They have the ability to redact, to disarm the public from knowing the truth by using the terminology and the tool to redact something from public knowledge that could be a safety to us to make a conscious decision about laws, things that are in place that contradict the well-being of humanity. So they redact stuff. Kind of like what I said about why does somebody need to be in power, like Supreme Court justices, for a lifetime, when we know that as you age, your mental capacity diminish, right? So if that be the case, then some of them might be stuck somewhere when they handle the case back in God knows when, and then when your case come before them, their perception and them doing the right thing according to the facts that's before them, they would use the terminology based on something back in history that they like to say, stay out of history, stay in the present. Again, I say, history teaches. It is a tool. Some for good, some for bad, because a lot of history has been used against me, trying to keep me ostracized, pent up by them using the elitists, the Illuminati practices of dark magic, rituals, and then using the capability to stop you. Look inside, like that movie Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. Y'all think that's not capable? And I want everybody, even the evil ones that think everybody is for you, but not right. Anywho, but I'm so glad that the doctor in the tobacco whistleblower thing, he still lives, I believe, and he made it through. I didn't watch the whole movie, but hopefully he made it through. But it has something to do with 60 Minutes, and we know 60 Minutes has been around for a long, long time. And I believe the reporter that was tied into Mr. Gatwin, I think his name, Jeffrey Gatwin, was the whistleblower, and then the reporter was Mr. Bergman, right, for the Williams, Brown and Williamson tobacco against the Williamson Brown and Tobacco Company for putting an extra additive, making more people addicted to their products so they can get rich instead of worry about your health. It's a vicious world out here, isn't it? Very vicious. And then the man, the whistleblower against this tobacco company, they went digging into his life way back when, like they're trying to do me. Like, if I was in my 20s or doing something while I was 18, in my teens, you want to bring that up to try to discredit who I am today. And I say that, I put that on pause because, not on pause, but I paused for a minute because I thought about that because of what I was saying or thinking about our president. But he is displaying some things by trying to put laws in place against things that would have an effect on people, like those who want justice for injustices against their ancestors and ownership rights of whatever was left behind that they know somebody else is trying to take over. Yeah, that old money. So if you put laws in place today against these citizens and things like that, that's devastating. And for you to sit in office and know the secrets of what happened and what's at stake, that's devastating. And that is kind of like the Brown and Williamson Tobacco Company. You know you were intentionally affecting people, and then you would, I guess when their sales go low, they want to put more additives in it so they can make the smoker more addictive to the product, and then causing health issues to the people who smoke. See how vicious that is? And then to have people with power doing rituals to pollute the thoughts or the minds of people. And then this thing here that is also have been redacted, and things have been put into it that try to cover up that you're talking about when you enslave people. So you put it in the churches to keep people docile after you enslaved them back in 18 whatever. Yeah, you know, there is, in the Bible it says where God got mad, they put it where God got mad. But we know, I feel like God does chastise everybody, but with that particular thing, it was the master saying he was God. And so we know that when slaves were enslaved, they were scattered. They were sold to one master, and then another would sell them if they were getting too close with the other slaves and trying to plot against that master. If you understand what I'm saying. So again, this book, when Nate Turner revolted, him and some others revolted against another nation of people, And it is believed that Nate Turner woke up from the parallel illusions. Imagine that, I just noticed that. But we'll say parallel allusions in some of the texts in the Bible. Because if you go back and look at any enslavement movie or documentary, and then you read this book, you would know that somebody was talking about somebody that looks like me. And I'm glad that they did do away with that, because I mean, my God, can you imagine getting whipped with a horse whip? The thought of the person who was actually imputing that whip on another human being that has a different shade of skin, but because they wanted to control, oppress, and make somebody submit to their tyranny, they would rape, take their children, rape their husbands in front of the whole slaves. All the slaves watch the masters rape a man or a woman. That's some sick behavior. So I'm glad that behavior is somewhat pushed away, but not. Because we got things in place to protect that hideous behavior. When we know if we are procreating and making families, we know that man and man will not ever make a baby. Woman and woman will not ever make a baby. So if nations and nationalities are to keep going, then it is about man and woman, a right foundation, the coupling of a man and a woman in the right premise of being a family, right? But then we have some people who see a family or just become envious or jealous at the relationship or the dynamic or the potential of a relationship, and then they start doing magic trying to keep them away from one another or break them up. That's why in the Bible I do believe, cease not to pray. You have to ask the Creator, the divine supreme being, to protect you at all times. Thank you, Most High. Protect this video, protect this message, protect my voice, and let your Holy Spirit speak through me. In the holy name of Yeshua, Ashe, Amen. And do anybody besides myself often wonder, why is it that if you become a felon and then you get arrested, you go do your prison time, but when you get out, you can't live in this apartment, you can't live in certain geographics, but you already did your time. But in some cases, I do overstand, because some people are not rehabilitated based upon what they went into, because prisons are not fun. And when I say that, I cringe a little, because I know that the people that have been trying to stalk me have been trying to put me in prison, like what they did in the Bible, what they falsely accused Yeshua, and then the governor, Pontius, he couldn't, or was it Pontius? I think it was. But anyway, he said, I don't find any fault with him, so I'm going to give him back to your own people. Your own people. That's what it says. And y'all prosecute each other like you're doing today. My own people that look like me, are trying to start a whole, well, no. They have started a war, and they have indoctrinated other people, or some other people indoctrinated them who were watching over me, because I could very well be adopted from a lineage that is very prominent, very upstanding, and maybe have some wealth, because as we know in this book too, they say the enemy don't come to an empty house. So I know my house must not be empty with all these attacks. But I thank you, Divine Supreme, that you will not let them hurt me, because we have work to do. I don't deserve their arrogant hate. And I thank you. Ashe. Amen. Just like, I just cannot get over. I mean, I can. But just the story behind that teenage boy getting dragged from his bed, and his family could not do anything about it, with those two barbaric Caucasian men coming in there, taking Emmett Till out of his bed and beating him because of a incompetent or low self-esteem woman lied on a child. I thought in the book it say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, okay, what happened to saying, okay, don't say that to her again, and then let it go? These grown men went in and took that child, because he was 15, so that means he's a teenage child. Let's not forget that. Let's not overlook it. Period. Grown men who was not teens, they were grown. Whipped him and then drowned him in some type of water embankment. And then eventually the family found his body. And the brave mother, Mrs. Till, said, oh no, I want that casket open. And then yet today we have people lying about that they are deceased. And then when you see the funeral, it's a closed casket, because they probably have put somebody in the casket, maybe some John Doe that's probably homeless on the street, because with me being homeless, I can see them attacking homeless people, because that makes sense, because homeless people are looked down upon. And so if there's an organized criminal ring going on, okay, what better, they can look like so-and-so, so we'll put them in the casket. So if it's ever open. But now everybody want to have a closed casket funeral, or say that they're cremated, when they're around here doing all this life insurance fraud, and then have somebody on the scene, a doctor, to reconstruct their face, and they live in a whole total different life. And then they want to forget about, like Aramis Ayala. That's Ayala, Aramis Ayala of Florida, where Miss Worrell went into her spot after she just, oh, I'm going to resign, I'm going to retire, because she's a thief. and a liar. And she changed her whole face up and her whole family, because she's not Delatron Hunter anymore. She's Aramis Ayala. We have a problem with redacting truths. People going around here saying they somebody else. Now I'm trying to figure out, did Delatron Hunter, where did she just disappear to? I mean, you change your name, your face, and all that. Did you make like you died too? But yet this is acceptable in the secret societies, because it's criminal organization of capitalizing off of a lie. If you are able to succeed with, oh yeah, they deceased, but they're not deceased. They're around here with a new face, new identity, new family members. Because I had that diabolical brother that I live with. He said, I'm gonna when I get my money, I was thinking he was talking about his VA money, right? Because he was becoming disabled. So he said, I'm fighting with the VA to get my money. He said, I'm gonna start my own family. Okay, that makes sense, because people get married and you do start your own family, right? But no. This, they take it, they delve a little bit deeper. They say, I'm going to change my face, my name. And, you know, Delatron Hunter, her mother passed, and her husband, her mother's husband also passed, I guess. And so now it's more easier for her to complete this lie, because if she got, which she did have a sister and a brother, which was younger than her. So if they down with it, because mom and dad are gone. See how that works? People are doing that diabolical stuff. Trust and believe they doing it until they can't, until a real investigation is done. Because I mean, after all, I'm sure Delatron had some dental work, some blood work. So you can change your name, you can change your face. But if your blood and stuff match that old blood that had Delatron Hunter on it, I mean, y'all, did y'all think about that? Did y'all think about DNA, blood work, fingerprints? Because you can't change that. I don't think. Child, I don't know. Y'all probably trying to change that. Because I did see a video where there was this lady who works in the government, and she had on a mask. Because, you know, like with the video Thriller with Michael Jackson, that was some good artwork, right? It was a mask that they pulled off, but it was attached to their neck so beautifully. Like, people could be walking around here under a whole mask and you wouldn't know it, because the mask, they got hair and all that. That's the dangerous part about this reptilian redacting, lying, scandal, fraud, criminality. And then you never know who you might be talking to, because they might have on a mask. Anyway, back to felons. Now, did they say our president was a felon? Did we not, before he became president again? And now that's, I mean, it's not funny, but How does that happen? How does a felon become president? Was it a witchcraft done for everybody to say we want that person in office who is a felon? Although, they say, what's her name? Hillary Clinton got something in her closet, but has it been proven in the court? Or is it about to be proven? I don't know. But yet, we'll say the low totem person who has a felony, no matter what ethnicity you are, in some cases, you cannot do certain things, but yet we have a leader that has been labeled with that same title. Something's wrong, people. Something's wrong. Then we have, I just have a question. What is the job, the responsibility of FDA and CDC? Because I'm trying to figure out, before 2020 got so far out of hand, what the hell was CDC doing? That's why you see some videos saying it was a pandemic. And now that I know that my family is into life insurance fraud for people assets, how many people from 2020 you lost somebody and you know they had money? Did y'all get any of it, or did it disappear? Or you can't find out any information? Well, is the government redacting some of that? Because I don't understand why. I mean, like Black Wall Street, you have a deed at the government office, and you have a deed in your house or your business. But if your business get burned down, who's the other one that has the deed? The government. So if they shady, phony, and flawed, like they be redlining certain communities because too many of a certain type of ethnicity get into it, so then they gotta. Is that what happened to Tiana Taylor? They said when she got shot, they wanted her to come out of that apartment unit because they wanted to sell it. How many of us remember the group INFACT? NFAC, who also has some affiliations with Trump, which we all see that there's a lot of pictures with Trump and his wife with Epstein. But remember Vanessa Williams when she won her crown for Miss America, was it? And then they so eloquently came on TV and said, oh, we're taking that crown away from her because she posed for Playboy. Did Playboy hurt her or the world? Did other people in office now, and did they pose for Playboy or Bazaar, or have on something that was revealing? See how there's a double standard? See all that history? I mean, Vanessa Williams could have kept her crown if she was not living that lifestyle that she was then, and she's a changed person when she won it. Why was it redacted? Why was it taken from her? But yet, we have a felon in 1600 Pennsylvania. And I don't believe posing for Playboy is a felon unless you got caught sex exploiting, like being a prostitute. I'm just thinking out loud. Is everybody else thinking out loud? I mean, if we go back in history and watch other people's lives, how it got tore down, but then we uplifting other people who also was caught in scandal, but yet they able to keep their position. And then me, they trying to dig up everything under the sun for me, saying, oh, she's explosive, she gets mad. Well, I should be mad about this. I've been going through it since late 2022, then becoming homeless 2023. So I should be mad. I have a right to be mad about an injustice done against me intentionally because of something stolen, something they don't want revealed. So I do have a right to be mad, but I don't walk around like that. But I'm not taking nothing from nobody either. I'm not gonna allow you to push me over, because I don't have to do that. That's not why I'm here. You are not to touch me. I'm not to touch you. I'm not to break into your house, and you are not supposed to be breaking in my house, but you doing it. I'm not supposed to be stealing from you, and you're not supposed to be stealing from me, but you're doing it. So who's the one in the wrong? See what I'm saying? All this, let's see what she got on her, under her. Well, let's see what she did when she was 18. 18. I'm in my 50s now. Now, if a person is still trying to do shady things like put in laws that's going to cripple or take from somebody that's not working for the greater good of the person that's in a less classification as them, but it protects you, you know, like this tax thing. The rich taxes get protected. That's what they want to happen. Anyway, all I'm saying is, I want the Most High to wake up the masses of people, because I truly believe there was a witchcraft done right before 2020, and there's a witchcraft being done to blind the masses over certain things, because while we still harping on Epstein, I ain't saying what he did was right or wrong, but I told you that I seen that man, so he's still alive. So why is he still walking around here, but y'all want us to be focused on that bull crap? The only one that need to be focused on that is the ones that want their justice. We don't need to be focused on P. Diddy either. Only ones that need to be focused on that is the ones who want their justice. If they were truly attacked by this person like you say that he did, but then with all his elite status, who else was involved, right? Like 1600 Pennsylvania is all on hanging out with they just ain't posing like this, what's up, you know, but they hanging out with Epstein. How long ago was that? And then what kind of laws are they trying to enact that mess with immigrants? The Bible say leave the foreigners alone, meaning leave the ones that are needy, poor, and vulnerable alone if they don't have a reason to be attacked. I'm just saying, we're just having a conversation, but how many people get mad about it? The ones who's guilty. At some point, people have to you have to stand for something, or you're going to fall for anything. Like the man with the Browns and Williamson Tobacco Company, he lost a couple of marriages and, being with his family because of his truth, where he wanted to save people that, like me, I'm helping somebody out that may be experiencing the same thing, because this group is very elaborate and vast, and they cover all four corners of the nation, because they are everywhere, because they are part of a secret society. So in China, somebody probably getting harassed. In Japan, in Dubai, in Africa, in Colorado, in Hawaii, in Maine, in Delaware. See what I'm saying? So what I'm talking about, it could be affecting somebody else's life. Because these people are people watchers. When you do not line up with the status quo, or they know that you will not be down with this nefariousness of criminality, they watch you, they stalk you, and they try to cause havoc in your life so you cannot speak out against them. And that's just some things in history, like with the Vanessa Williams thing in The Crown. I mean, you have the Nancy Kerrigan thing when they were ice skating. The one chick was jealous of the other chick when both of them were good in their own craft, but because of the competition mindset that, I'm going to have to say United States because that's where I reside, put so much competition in between people, and that's why there's so much havoc and discord between people, when it's supposed to be easy. We all have something to contribute. Stop being greedy. That's what's the problem. Greed. Someone wanted to be the chief. Power. Greed. Power. And then if you start mixing in sleeping with a whole bunch of people, your mind really get backwards, because you're picking up that person's spirit and the spirits that they slept with. So, keeping yourself, and not only that, HPV. Okay. Look that up. Look up the terminology. How do you derive of the HPV? That comes from too much mixing of dipping into too many bodies. And unfortunately, Henrietta Lacks, after her cancer spat, that is the name that they gave for the HPV, for her cervical cancer, because they were saying her husband was out gyrating with other people. So that's why I don't understand how there is, when there are clear signs, I don't care what this Bible say, where King David had 500 wives. Make that make sense. I mean, any woman and any man in their right mind, you cannot keep one household straight with all those different obligations. And that paganism mindset got to go with HPV on the flow, right? And not only that, it just caused discord, dis-easement I mean, I know these people in polyamorous relationships, they come on and they make it look so dainty. BS. Because if a couple is having problems, and then you have couples, miss us with all of that. Not only that, I'm still stuck on the HPV. Okay. HPV got me stuck on, I just need one somebody. And that one somebody and I need to be straight with one another. Because I ain't trying to get HPV or nothing else. So that's why in one of my videos I was stressing to the prostitute, whether you're male or female, HPV don't discriminate. So, you know, you got to keep your body and your mind right, because you pick up spirits. Like, if you can pick up spirits from alcohol, because ABC say it's ABC liquor store, spirits come pick up the spirits. And when you're laying with someone, that's friction, blood, fluids. So somebody else's spirit. I'm trying to get the person that I'm dealing with. So if you out there fooling around, I don't want all that. Yeah, that make me want to throw up. Period. Anyway, I digress. So anyway, everybody be mindful. If you have a partner, a good partner, keep praying. Hallelujah, Ashe. And hopefully your partner is praying too, because baby, it is some people watchers. And don't talk too much about your good, because they listening and it's resonating and it's going in here because they ain't got a guard up, and now they getting a bitter root. Hell, my relationship ain't like that. Hell, I ain't even in one. That part. So anywho, you just gotta be so careful, because somebody out there want what you got. I know that all too, because it's happening to me. Somebody wants what they stole, it's done gotten out of control, and now they caught up. Because see, my exes lied and say I got a mental disorder, when it's them that has a mental disorder, trying to fake a fraud or make somebody else me by having plastic surgery. I am who God says that I am. Unique, first of all. He made me, then he made that what you trying to make me. And then some people go so deep. Some people might be trying to make a robot. But a robot can't have a soul because it don't bleed, right? It don't bleed. It don't have to eat. So that's what I'm saying. It's some sick people in the world, but that's what we live around. When people think they can plan a pandemic and then try to perfect robotism, you know, and I can't get over Henrietta Lacks either. I mean, once they took her blood work and she was sick, and they getting fascinated about, oh, her blood work does this. Well, we got Sister So-and-so down the hallway who needs some help. Let's give it to her. Don't tell her. Let's give it to her and see how it helps her. But Henrietta Lacks needed some help with her cervical cancer. And I'm a firm believer. I just believe they were so endowed with what her cells were doing, they did not fully help her. Because if her cells can do that for somebody else, why can't they do it for her? Because they had found something out and they let her die, and they thought that they secret of her cells that was making them multi-million dollars. See how this redacting, defrauding someone or their family out of their truth goes a little bit deep, but it came out anyway. Like, what you're doing to me is gonna come out anyway, and rightfully so. That's why it don't pay to be a liar, a thief. Because whatever you stole, I believe, is a curse to you. Because you ain't supposed to be in that control. And you ain't supposed to have it in your control. Period. So if God is listening, and I believe He is, Lord, let it be a curse. I want my truth. Period.